Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Previously I showed you some of my Arrow collection, and I showed you my Blu-ray slip boxes, and I showed you my steelbooks, and I showed you my Arrow DVDs. And so today I'm going to wrap up the series and show you my Amaray cases, my plastic keep cases. And these are all Blu-ray, and these are all from Arrow Video. And I will start with Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin in The Delta Force. And this movie came out in 1986. And it's an action war type movie. And I'll show you the reversible cover here. If I can get this out. We have, that's the original theatrical poster. And then you have a little art card here. It shows the previous titles, and then it shows the original poster art. And then you have a booklet. It's maybe about, I don't know, 10, 12 pages. And this movie is about a jetliner is hijacked from Rome en route to the U.S. And it's hijacked by terrorists from Lebanon. And the Delta Force is formed, and it's an elite team of military veterans, basically, is what it is. And they're called in to eliminate the terrorism before hostages get killed. So this is a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. And Chuck Norris always kicks ass. And Lee Marvin's a badass too. This is a good movie. I would probably give it about a 6.5 out of 10. And this is the original artwork, or the commissioned artwork from Graham Humphreys. And he does a lot of work for a lot of different labels, but he does get commissioned by Arrow quite a bit. So I will try to point out some more of his art as we go on here. That is the Delta Force from 1986. Up next is Django, Prepare a Coffin. And this stars Terence Hill as Django. And this movie came out in 1968, and it's a spaghetti western. And I will show you the alternate artwork here. That's the commissioned artwork. I will probably flip that. That's the Italian poster art right there. That is the original poster art, I believe. And it's made to look like it's ripped and creased, but that's just part of the design of the cover. It's not really ripped up like that. So then on the inside you have an art card for White of the Eye, which I have the steelbook for this, and I have yet to watch this one. And then you have another, I'd say about another 10 or 12 page booklet with some of these stills from the movie and some write-ups, stuff like that. And I enjoy this movie. I'd probably give it about a 7 out of 10. And earlier today, somebody left a comment. They were wondering why I only give 7s, 7.5s, maybe 8s. And that's because I am a little picky with movies. But a movie has to be outstanding to me to get a 9 or a 10. And those aren't just made every day. You know, maybe once a year there's a movie that's a 9 out of 10, or if that. You know, I mean, sometimes it's a couple of years before you get a nice movie like that. So I try to stay conservative with my grading. But I mean, you can grade the movies any way you want to. I mean, if just because it's a 7 to me, maybe it's an 8 or 9 or 10 to you. I mean, I'm just giving you, you know, my honest opinion about the movies. So up next we have a Mario Bava film called Barren Blood, and this came out in 1972. Excuse me, sorry about that. And this is another Graham Humphreys cover right here, which is really nice. And this is a 3-disc set. You have the Blu-ray here, And you have the DVD of the movie, and then you have the supplemental bonus features. So then you have a booklet. I wish Arrow still did the posters, because it would be kind of cool to have some Graham Humphreys posters hanging in the room. But here you have an art card for Black Sabbath, which is another very good Mario Bava film. And here's a booklet here with maybe about, I don't know, 10 or 12 pages again. They're all about the same, I think. Actually, it says it's 20 pages, so this is a little bit thicker. And that is Baron Blood. And this isn't one of Bava's better films. I think it's kind of middle of the road. I'd probably give it about a 6 maybe out of 10. But that's just me. It's about a man who returns to Austria in search of his heritage, and he thinks he's the heir to a castle. And Joseph Cotten plays the Baron in this film, and the Baron was cursed to a violent death by a witch, and died a very violent death, but he comes back as a menacing, haunting zombie figure, and chaos ensues, and it's one of those kind of movies. So it's pretty decent. I'd give it, like I said, I'd give it about a 6 out of 10. That's Baron Blood. Up next is Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. This came out in 1991. And I went to see this at the theater when it came out. I was a junior in high school, 1991. And maybe 20 minutes into the movie, the theater caught on fire. So everybody had to be evacuated. And we all got free movie tickets, but I never did go back to see it. I had to wait again till it came out on VHS. And I do enjoy this movie. It has sentimental value to me because of that story I just told you. But it's not a great movie, but I do enjoy it. And it's one of those hillbilly inbred. There's a brother and sister that live together, and they end up procreating and having kids, and the kids are, they're inbred, and they're just wacko. And 3 urban burglars. That's the original right there. 3 urban burglars break in to try to see if they can rob the place, and what they find is a house of horrors, and now they have to try to escape with their lives. And I do enjoy this film. Like I said, it's not a great movie, but I'll probably give it about a 6 out of 10. But I do like this movie for the sentimental value of it, and that's People Under the Stairs. Up next is a 1973 film from Brian De Palma, and this is Sisters. And that's a Graham Humphreys cover right there. Pretty cool. And this is a horror thriller, and it got a PG rating. And I know a lot of guys don't like PG films, horror films, but I did enjoy this one, and I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. And it has Margot Kidder, and the late, great Charles Durning is in this, and I really enjoyed his acting. I thought he was a really good actor. And I just watched him the other day on Dark Night of the Scarecrow. I like to revisit that film, from time to time. I enjoy it. Comes with a pretty thick booklet. And then you have the art card for Hell Comes to Frogtown, which I'll be showing you pretty soon here. And then you have the DVD, and you have the Blu-ray. And there you have the original cover art, which Graham Humphreys' artwork blows it away, I think. And it is Sisters. And the movie is about a journalist who witnesses a murder and goes to the police, and the police do not believe her that she saw a murder. So she embarks on a mission to find who the killer was and to prove that there was a murder. And it just goes on from there. I don't want to give too much of it away. trying to figure out why this case won't close. I'm going to have to mess with that later. But this is a good movie, and I would recommend watching it. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. That was Sisters. And then next up we have some Larry Cohen sleaze, and this is called The Stuff. And this movie is pretty ridiculous, but in a good way. It's got some pretty good, it's more of a comedy than anything else. And you have the art card for The Beast Within. And you have a little booklet here, probably like another 15-20 page booklet. It's got some stills and some write-ups of the film. And I seem to be having a little problem in this video, and I apologize. I gotta try to smooth my roll here. But you have the Blu-ray, and then you have the DVD. And I'll pop this one out and show you guys the original cover. That is pretty cool. And I have watched this film, and the quality is very good. I think everything about the film is good. It's got a really cheesy story, though. It's there's two guys walking in the beginning of the film. There's two guys walking, and they see like this mysterious white ooze, gooey ooze coming out of the ground, and one guy eats it. I mean, who would ever just grab something off the floor that's white and gooey and just put it in their mouth? But that's what they did, and they find out that it tastes delicious, and they want to market it as like a snack. And that's what they do. They market it as a snack, and people start eating it, and they become zombie-like. And it then starts to infect the world. And yeah, that's pretty much the best way I can describe that. I would probably give it about a 6 out of 10. It's got some pretty good gore effects, pretty good makeup and stuff like that. So I would give it a watch. That's The Stuff. And that's from 1985. Let me double check that. 1986. This movie came out in 1986. Up next is a Mario Bava classic, and this is a very good one. This is an anthology. It's got 3 stories in it. It's called Black Sabbath. And this one is a 3-disc set. The movie came out in 1963. And Tim Lucas had a lot to do with the special features in this, on a lot of the Mario Bava, but he, especially in this one, he did some interviews, and what else did he do? There was something else. He had an interview with Samuel Arkoff, and he had some write-ups in the booklet, I guess. I'm not really sure. I should have did a little more research on that. I know Tim Lucas had a lot to do with this film, though. And he is a Mario Bava historian. So, and this is a really nice book. I mean, I can tell right away it's very high quality, and it just seems like it's even a little bit thicker than the other ones. And then you have the nice art card for Black Sabbath. And Boris Karloff is in this movie in one of the stories, and he plays a vampire, and that's, of the 3 stories, that was my favorite one, I think. It's a very atmospheric movie. So I would recommend checking this out. I know many of you have, and I think this was a Kino release too. So if you can't get it on Arrow, maybe you can get it on Kino a little easier. I don't know, but I would recommend checking it out if you haven't watched it yet. And that is Black Sabbath. And up next we have Motel Hell. This is a 1980 film, and it stars Rory Calhoun as Farmer Vincent. And you guys know the little tagline that Farmer Vincent used to say. You can see it up here at the top. It takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent fritters. And they used to, there's an old farmhouse out in the country, and Farmer Vincent and his wife take on transients and let people stay at their home, and then they murder them and make beef jerky and stew and steak and all this out of these people. And it's more of a comedy than anything else. And here you have the art card for The Last American Virgin, which I do not own. I would like to pick that up someday. That one's on my wish list. And then you have a very nice booklet again. And that's a classic scene right there with that pig head. And again, this is not a great movie, but it's very entertaining, and I have watched this probably 10 times in my life, and going all the way back to the VHS days. And it looks like this is Region B and Region 2. And then there you have the commissioned artwork. And I'm not sure if Graham Humphreys did this one. Let me take a look on the back really quick. I'm not seeing it. Commissioned artwork by Jeff Zarnow. So this is not a Graham Humphreys cover, but very good nonetheless. And Arrow seems to find the right guys for their work. So up next is Spider Baby, and it's also known as the maddest story ever told, and it's a 1967 Jack Hill film. And this one has Lon Chaney Jr., as you can see there. And it's a very strange movie. It's a very good movie, but it's very strange. It's there's 3 grown adults that act like children because they're inbred and they're deranged, basically. And they live in a house, a countryside mansion that's just dilapidated and run down. Yeah, Sid Haig is actually in this movie. Sid Haig was 28 years old when he played one of the deranged children, but a distant relative comes to check on the family because the mother and father are gone, and they think that they are the next heir to this countryside mansion. And the relatives come out there with their lawyer, and they try to take the house over. But what they find is a house of horrors, and they have to deal with these 3 deranged children, as well as Lon Chaney Jr.'s role as I guess he's kind of like their chauffeur. I guess you'll have to see it to fully understand the movie. But there is a pretty decent ending to it. You'll find out some stuff. They have something hidden in the basement. And here you have the Blu-ray. Then you have the DVD. And there you have the original cover. And I had not seen this until Arrow released it. So I'm glad I got to watch this, because this is a very good movie. And I'm trying to see who did the cover. This is a Graham Humphreys cover right here. Just to give you guys an idea. He's going to be selling a book, and they're taking pre-orders for it, and it's a very high quality book, but it's also very, very expensive. So if you're into his artwork, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, I think everybody is pretty much for the most part, take a look at it. I want to say it's like I think it's starting out at 150 Great Britain pieces, which is it's going to be over $200 for US. So I'm going to have to start saving now. And then I sent him a message on Facebook, hoping that he will sign it once I get it. So I wouldn't mind shipping it to him and shipping it back just to have his signature on it. But that's neither here nor there. Let's continue on. We have George A. Romero's Night Riders. And this was a good change of pace, I think, for George A. Romero, because he was kind of stuck on those zombie films for a while. And this movie came out in 1981. It stars Ed Harris as King Billy, and there he is right there. And it's the movie's kind of hard to explain. It's like there's a motorcycle troupe, and they kind of do like medieval type battles on their motorcycles instead of on horseback. They're on their motorcycles, and they're getting picked on by like the redneck cops. And oh, I got 2 of these little art cards. That's pretty cool. If anybody wants one of these art cards, let me know and I'll ship it to you. I don't know if you guys collect these or not, but I don't need 2. So, and then you get a pretty nice size booklet, and it's very nice quality. Again, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but Arrow really does put a lot of care into their releases. There's a scene in this movie. It's kind of a weird movie, but there's a scene in here. It's almost kind of a touching movie because towards the end of the movie, there's a little boy that King Billy, Ed Harris's character, comes across earlier in the movie, and then later in the movie he comes across him again, and he ends up giving the young boy his sword, and it's kind of a you'd have to see it, and it did kind of touch me. It was kind of a nice scene, and like I said, this was a very nice change of pace for George A. Romero, and I think every once in a while he should do that to kind of get away from his zombie films. Although I do enjoy his zombie films a lot. And this one has a crack on the bottom, which is kind of a bummer because I'm pretty picky about my collection. And this, I ended up buying this on eBay, and when it shipped, it was already cracked like that. So it's kind of a bummer. I'm gonna have to replace that, and it's harder to replace these thick, clear cases like that, and especially one that has a swing tray in it. So if anybody has an extra out there, let me know, and I'll buy it off you. I'd like to fix that up. But that is George A. Romero's Night Riders, and I would probably give this. I'm gonna have to give it like a 5.5. I'll say it's okay. Up next is Squirm, and I own this on Scream Factory as well. And both of the editions are really nice. I enjoy this movie. It's a 1976 creature feature type film, filmed in Georgia. And it has pretty good practical effects. And the premise of the movie is a lightning strike downs some electrical wires, and the wires touch the ground, and it turns these night crawlers, these worms, into flesh-eating monsters, pretty much. And it's a cheesy film. It has cheesy practical effects, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a fun watch. And whether you get it on Scream Factory or Arrow or both, I think it's worthy of being in the collection. There you have the art card for Delta Force. And then here you have the Blu-ray. Looks like it's Region B. And then here you have the commissioned artwork. Well, that is Squirm. And up next is Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. And this movie came out in 1985, and it's more comedy to me than anything else. It's an action comedy, but it does rely heavily on the comedy aspects of it. And it stars Fred Ward, who you see right there. And there's the alternate commissioned artwork. And then this one comes with a nice little booklet again, like they all do. And this one is just Blu-ray only, and it looks like it's Region B. But Fred Ward is a New York police cop, and he's killed in action, or he fakes his death so he can join an elite organization that hunts terror cells, I guess, terrorism. And he's trained by this assassin who's pretty funny. I mean, those scenes when he's training with the martial arts instructor is pretty funny, I think. All in all, the movie is not great. To me, it's kind of middle of the road, and I would probably give it. I've given it a 5 before, but I think I'd push it up to about a 6. But I would not go any higher than 6 out of 10 for this one. It's fun for a watch, but I probably wouldn't pull this one out any more than maybe once every few years. Watch it, but it's okay for what it is. It's Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. Up next is this is a gem right here. We went from Remo Williams to probably one of the better films that Arrow put out, and this is Arrow Academy, and this is Night of the Hunter. And this movie came out in 1955, and it's a Charles Laughton film. He directed it, and it stars Robert Mitchum right there by the fence. And this is a very good movie, and you might remember the scene of this. He tattoos on his knuckles love on one hand and hate on the other hand. And There's the vintage poster art right there. And again, it comes with a pretty nice booklet here with nice write-ups. And in the beginning of this movie, a guy comes into, I'll just say a guy comes into $10,000 illegally. And as he's fleeing the cops, he tries to get back to his home so he can hide the money. And he does manage to hide the money, but the cops are on his tail, and he ends up getting gunned down and killed. So that leaves his widow behind with a child. And shortly after that happens, this character here, he plays a religious fanatic, but he's a con man. And he just wants that $10,000. So he kind of starts courting the widow. And at first he's Mr. Wonderful. You know, he's like a religious man. And as the movie goes on and he's trying to get closer to that money, and he's a little bit, starts to get a little bit irritated, and even with the child, and he starts, you know, treating the child wrong, and he starts treating the wife wrong. And you'll have to see what happens, but this is a crazy movie. It's a very, very good movie. I'll give this one an 8.5 to all you guys out there that think I don't give higher grades, but this really is an 8.5 to me. And I would recommend picking this up. I believe, yeah, Criterion put this out on Blu-ray, and you can get it on Arrow Academy. Get it either way you can, but watch that movie if you have not seen it. You'll be glad you watched it. It's very good. And that is Night of the Hunter. And up next is Blind Woman's Curse. And this movie came out in 1970. And it's an action drama horror. But this is one of the movies I have not watched yet. This is on my to watch pile. But I'll give you guys a quick rundown through it. I can't really tell you too much about the film. Not until I've seen it, then I'll give you guys maybe somewhere down the road I might do a review on it. Here you can see the original artwork here. That is Blind Woman's Curse. And I do plan on watching this. I don't know when, but it is in the pile, and we'll watch that someday. So that's Blind Woman's Curse. And up next is another very good film. This is called The Naked City. This is another Arrow Academy. And this is a 1948 crime drama and film noir as well. And this movie was filmed entirely on location in New York City. And here you have an art card for the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which I have on Arrow Steelbook. And again, you have a pretty nice sized booklet here. And then you have the Blu-ray, looks like it's Region B. And then you have the DVD. And there's the vintage poster art from the 40s. And this movie is about a beautiful blonde model. In the beginning of the movie, she's murdered. And two detectives are assigned to the scene. And as they start to zero in on their main suspect, they find that their suspect is murdered. Somebody murders him. So then they start to focus on the murdered man's partner in crime. And it turns into a manhunt for that guy. And I'm not going to give it away. I think I said enough about it, and I strongly recommend. I'll give this an 8 out of 10. And you guys got to pick this one up and watch it. It's very good. That's The Naked City. Up next is one of their more limited releases. They only released this in 1,000 copies, and this is Hellgate. And this came out in 1984. And it stars Ron Palillo. You can see him right there. He played Horseshack on Welcome Back, Kotter. And this is kind of a silly movie. And you got the art card for Dr. Phibes, the abominable Dr. Phibes. And you have another little bit of a thinner booklet here, but still very, very nice. Nice quality. And then you have the Blu-ray, looks like it's Region B. And then you have the DVD, looks like it's Region 2. And you have the original poster art for Hellgate. And the movie is about this woman right here in the middle. She's very hot. She's a very sexy woman. She's naked a lot in the movie too, but she dies in the beginning of the film. Her name is Abigail Walcott, and you never hear about her again after this movie. This was the only movie she was ever in. I looked her up on IMDb because, I mean, she's gorgeous. I thought maybe she was some kind of a swimsuit model or a penthouse or something, but no, she was just in this movie. That was it. But she dies in the beginning of the movie, and her dad comes across some kind of a stone or some kind of a rock as he's mining, and the rock has magical powers and it can bring things back from the dead. So he brings his daughter back, and but she ends up going on a killing spree, and she kills any males that come into the town, which is, I mean, the movie makes no sense whatsoever, but it's just a ton of cheese. And there's actually a scene in here where Horshack is getting some booty, and that scene cracks me up. I know you guys maybe have seen this before, and it just cracked me up to see Horshack getting a piece of ass, and it didn't look right, but good for him. I mean, whatever. But I would probably give this a very generous 6, because I'm sure a lot of people give it much lower than that, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10. And I like to have it in the collections just because it's pretty limited. It's only limited to 1,000 pieces. So that was Hellgate. And up next is another limited. Oops, sorry about that. This is also limited to 1,000 pieces, and this is Hell Comes to Frogtown, starring Roddy Piper. And that's pretty cool cover right there. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but right there it says limited edition Blu-ray 1,000 copies. Let me see if I can get in there a little bit. Nope. It's not until I get a better camera, but you'll just have to take my word. But here's an ad for Tom Hanks in The Burbs, which is a very good movie. Also, I have this on Steelbook. And then you have the kind of a thinner booklet, but it's still pretty nice. Then you have the Blu-ray, Region B. And you have the DVD, Region 2. And there you have the original poster art. And this movie came out in 1988. Oops, put that in wrong. And it stars, like I said before, it stars Roddy Piper, and his name is Sam Hell in this movie. And he becomes prisoner by a world that's run by women, because there was a nuclear biological war that wipes out a lot of the male species. Turns the men either infertile or into mutants. And for some reason, Sam Hell is the only fertile male left in the world. So all these women are trying to capture him, so they can start procreating again and start using his seed to repopulate the world and the male species and all that. And he can't escape because they tie a bomb, or they manufacture some kind of bomb, and they put it right on his junk. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but he can't, if he wanders a certain distance away, it'll blow up and it'll blow his thing off. So yeah, it's one of those kind of movies. It's very silly, and the female leader dresses up in a frog outfit, and hence Hell Comes to Frogtown, and it's pretty silly. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Generous. It's a fun watch, but it's just silliness. And up next we have some more silliness, and this one is from Troma, and this is called Class of Nukem High. And this movie came out in 1986. And this is the Blu-ray DVD combo. And let's see if I got a card with this. Nope. Got the booklet. Mr. Lloyd Kaufman, Uncle Lloyd, Toxic Avenger. At least you got to know what you're getting into when you watch a Troma film, and it's, you know, either have fun with it or you think it's stupid, but you've got to be in the right frame of mind, I think, to watch these movies. And I enjoy them for what they are. I mean, obviously you can't take something like this serious, but there's the commissioned art. This is about a high school that's right next to a nuclear plant, and the students are buying drugs from one of the workers that works next door at the plant, and they start becoming sick, and they start turning into zombie-like creatures, you know, vomiting ooze and stuff like that. And then there's a high school couple that have a baby, and the baby eats everything in sight, and it eats everyone that it comes in contact with, and it's one of those kind of movies. And so I don't know if I would recommend this or not. Many of you have seen this already, and you know what kind of movie it is, but that is Class of Nukem High. I got that really cheap, otherwise it probably wouldn't be in my collection. I think I bought that for less than 10 bucks USD. So up next is a Brian De Palma film, Dressed to Kill, and this one is very good. This came out in 1980. And it stars the beautiful Angie Dickinson and Karen Allen and the beautiful Michael Caine. If you guys seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give it away, but very bizarre film. And there you see Karen Allen, and she's collabed with Brian De Palma in other movies, notably Blowout. She was in Blowout, which was a great movie. And there's Miss Angie Dickinson. She always looked gorgeous. And this movie starts out with a mysterious blonde who kills a psychiatrist patient, and the murder was witnessed, and now the mysterious blonde has to track down the witness to kill the witness. It's one of those kind of movies, another cat and mouse. I really enjoyed this one. I would give it a 7 out of 10. And I would recommend Dressed to Kill. Check that one out. And we have another, I think this is my last Brian De Palma for the day, and this is The Fury. And this movie came out in 1978. Check out that artwork. I might have to flip this cover here. That looks pretty sweet. Yeah, I think I'm going to flip it. I'll do that later, though. Got a pretty decent, pretty nice thick booklet here. Very high quality. And this movie stars Kirk Douglas, John Cassavetes, and the late, great Charles Durning. And it's not really a horror film. It's more of a thriller, I would call it. And it's the government is gathering up children with, I guess you want to call it like psychic abilities. And they want to use, the government wants to use these children as killers in war situations. And Kirk Douglas's character, who is Peter, has to find his son. The government told Peter that his son was dead, but Kirk Douglas's character finds out otherwise. Now he has to find him before the government can use him in their war efforts. And this is a good movie. I would give this a strong 7 out of 10. And that is The Fury. Up next we have The Beast Within, and I also have this on Scream Factory. This is a pretty good film. This movie came out in 1982. And here you have the DVD. Looks like it's Region 2. And then you have Region B for the Blu-ray. And you guys might recognize this cover from Scream Factory right here. It's the original. And, the beginning of this movie has a very nasty rape scene from a werewolf. A werewolf rapes a woman in the woods. And it's pretty intense. It's not for the squeamish. Well, anyway, because of that attack, the woman becomes pregnant, and she gives birth to a child who grows up to be in his teenage years. Well, when he becomes in his teenage years, he finds out that he too has that the wolf inside of him, and now he has to rape and plant his seed. And some of these rape movies are pretty hard to watch, but this isn't a great film. It's okay. It's middle of the road. I give it a 6 out of 10. One of my favorite all-time character actors is in here, L.Q. Jones, and he plays the sheriff, and he's a very good actor. But other than that, I would say this movie's like middle of the road, and you could probably pass this up if you wanted to, but I wanted to add it to the collection. I actually bought it twice, so I have it on Scream Factory and Arrow. But up next is The Wild Geese. And this is a British war film. And this came out in 1978. Here's a cool lobby card for you. House by the Cemetery. And then you have one of the thinner booklets. And it looks like it's Region B. And then you have the original poster art from 1978. And this movie, it's an action-adventure type movie, and it stars Richard Burton, Roger Moore, and Richard Harris. And I thought it was a pretty good movie. It kept me entertained. I don't know what I would give it as far as a grade. Maybe a 7. It's a pretty decent film. I would check it out. It's The Wild Geese. Up next is another Arrow Academy, and this is The Killing, Stanley Kubrick. And I just showed you guys this one yesterday when I did my Criterion collection. So I do own this one twice. And this is a very good movie. It's one of my favorites. It's my favorite Kubrick film, and it's probably one of my, I would probably put it in my top 20 of all time. And that's the original artwork right there, which is pretty cool. I don't know, they're both pretty nice. I might keep the one I have on. I'm going to keep that one, I think, but that's also very nice. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. And then you have a nice write-up about the film. And this movie stars Sterling Hayden, who puts on that iconic mask towards the end of the film when they go in to do their robbing of the racetrack. And this is a good movie because when you're watching the film and they put the plan together and you watch step by step how they're putting this plan together, you think there's no way that they cannot. They have cops on the payroll, they have a bartender on the payroll, and there's, without giving too much of the film away, they covered every angle, but there was one little loophole that they missed, and there's always a femme fatale that kind of screws things up, and guys seem to overlook that. But this is a good movie, and you guys check this out. Watch The Killing. You'll enjoy it. And I'll give that an 8.5 out of 10. Up next is The Night of the Comet. And this movie came out in 1984. And you have the Blu-ray. And you have the DVD. And it looks like it's Region B and Region 2, so which you guys don't really have to worry about that now because Arrow is distributing their films into the USA now. So a lot of these will probably be re-released as Region A or AB. So, you know, if you don't have a region-free player, don't worry about it, because I'm sure they're going to be selling a ton of movies over here. So there's the original poster art right there. I really like that they do that. You know, they show the original poster art and then they have the commissioned artwork. And that is nice right there. And this movie has, it's another kind of a silly movie, but I enjoyed this one. It's got the beautiful Catherine Mary Stewart, and she always was beautiful. She was in a couple other films. And I don't think she ever aged. I mean, she aged so beautifully that, you know, you don't really notice that she doesn't look older. And it also has the late Jeffrey Ward, who just, I'm sorry, Jeffrey Lewis, who just passed away last week. So rest in peace. And this movie is about a comet that falls from the sky, and it wipes out pretty much all of mankind and turns people into flesh-eating zombies, except for two Valley girls who are kind of the two Valley girls versus the world, basically. And during the course of the film, they encounter other survivors and they try to band up together to figure out how they're going to overcome this. And you'll have to watch it to find out. And this also has a Scream Factory release too, so I have this twice. And good movie. Not a great movie, but not a bad movie either. 6 out of 10 for me. But that's Night of the Comet. Up next we have Deranged. And this was loosely based on serial killer Ed Gein, who was from my state of Wisconsin, and I'm not proud of it. But the Ed Gein killings took place about 1 hour and 25 minutes away from where I live. And here you have the pretty nice booklet. And I say it's loosely based on Ed Gein because they call him Ezra Cobb instead of Ed Gein. I'm not sure why, because a lot of the crimes that took place in this movie are pretty accurate to what happened in real life. And here you have the DVD, it's Region 2, and then you have the Blu-ray, which looks like it's Region B, yeah. And this is the cover I remember from back in the VHS days even. And I enjoy this movie. It kind of has a unique style to it. It's almost like a documentary style film. And this movie came out in 1974. And I would probably give it about a 7 out of 10. So go check out Deranged. If you don't have it already, I'd recommend it. 7 out of 10 for me. And I have 4 more here, and I'll try to blaze through this because I'm getting low on my battery here. We have The Incredible Melting Man, which we also have on... It didn't come out on Scream Factory, though. It came out from Shout Factory for some reason. I don't know why it wasn't a Scream Factory release, but I do have this from Shout Factory. And this came out in 1977. It's got a nice little booklet, and then you have Region B Blu-ray, Region 2 DVD, and there's the commissioned artwork right there. That is pretty nice. I may have to flip that one, although I do love this cover right here on the front, though. That's the poster art right there. That is pretty nice. I think I'm just going to keep it like I got it. It's a pretty cheesy film about an astronaut who they're exposed. There's a crew of astronauts in a capsule, and there's like 4 astronauts, and they start getting nosebleeds when they're in space, and they come back, and 3 of them die, 1 lives, but he turns into like this gelatinous, oozy figure, and he ends up turning into the Melting Man, and pretty cheesy. It has pretty nice practical effects, so it's pretty nice. This one here I was very pleased with. This is Thief, starring James Caan and Willie Nelson. This came out in 1981, and I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. And this is one of the first slip boxes that Arrow released that I can think of. This is the only one I have, and this is a newer release. So if anybody knows if Arrow had slip boxes or slip cases on other releases, let me know. Leave a comment below. This is an action crime drama. And in the movie, James Caan is a professional safe cracker. And he's pretty successful. I mean, he has some pretty huge heists. And the mafia contacts him to work for them. And he does pull off a job. And he wants it to be his last job, and he's going to retire because he's got enough money saved up. He wants to take his wife and live somewhere in the, somewhere tropical. But once you're in with the mafia, you can't really get out. So all hell breaks loose, and James Caan's fighting for his life to stay alive now at this point. You got the Blu-ray, it's Region B. I'm sorry, let me double check it. Yeah, it says you got the Blu-ray Region B and another Blu-ray Region B. I wonder why they have... I'll have to look into that. And there's the original cover right there. That is Thief, and I would give this an 8.5, and you guys really, if you haven't watched this film, please check it out. It's very, very good. In fact, if you only pick out 2 of all the movies I picked out, I would recommend The Thief and The Killing. So I'll put that on later. And up next is The Killers, and this is the 1964 remake of the 1946 film. And this film stars, this is a Don Siegel film, and it stars Lee Marvin, Angie Dickinson, John Cassavetes, and Ronald Reagan is even in this movie. And look at Angie Dickinson. Another femme fatale character for her. And there you got Lee Marvin. It shows you a little bit about the upgrade process, and has some write-up about the restoration and all that. This is a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I'd give this probably about a 7 out of 10. And it's based on a short story by Ernest Hemingway. And I've never seen the original from 1946, so I can't compare the two, but I do enjoy this one. And if the original is anywhere close to this, it's going to be awesome too, and I do plan to pick that up. And up last, I saved this last because I'm going to have probably a problem with the pronunciation, but I believe it's pronounced Koyaanisqatsi. Let me try that again. Koyaanisqatsi and Powakatsi. And basically, these were also released on Criterion. And these are just documentary-style films that show off different scenes from around the world, different, just different styles of people's lives that are living around the world, different things, And I know one of them has some music in it. And I did watch one of them for a little while. And it's kind of like a Disney nature type film. It's not something that you can just sit back and watch for hours. At least I couldn't do it, but it's got a really nice booklet here. Just different different walks of life, It's kind of good to see that. And I do recommend picking this up. It's a very relaxing type show, I got sleepy when I watched it because it's shot really well. It's shot beautifully, but it's not really a movie. It's more like just a documentary of different beautiful scenes from around the world. So basically, that is it, guys. That was my Arrow collection. That's the entire collection now. You guys have seen it, and I think from this point forward, I will probably just show new releases and like update videos. So if there's any titles that you like, leave a comment below, and if there's anything that you would recommend for me to pick up, let me know. And thanks guys for watching, and if you haven't subbed yet, please do, and I will sub you right back. Until I talk to you next time, take care and bye.